Happy Tuesday. Sun is shining. It's getting warmer.
Oh yeah, it's
Finally, right?
When I got off the bus today, you don't even know how happy I was that it was.
The sun was shining. Is it almost? Yes.
It's about to be spring.
On Sunday it's gonna be 50.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice. I'm down for 50. All right.
Once the snow melts, I could ride my bike.
There you go. That's right. All right. Reading today. Yesterday you were reading the story. Can't You Make Them Behave, King George? You are answering some questions here. So I want to look at the first three questions one more time. And then we're going to talk about fact and opinion. Okay? So who is the main character in this story, Claire? George. Definitely King George, right? Okay. The title even tells you, right, that it's going to be King George. We're going to hear a lot from. We're going to get a lot of information about him, his thoughts and opinions. Okay? Where does the story take place? We talked about this yesterday too. Sean, where does it take place?
Kind of his castle, maybe a little bit in the palace.
Yeah, you might say there's a little bit that we kind of hear about what's going on, right? But most of it is done there in King George's castle in England. Okay? When does it take place? When does this story take place? John?
During the American Revolution.
Right, so you could have just simply stated during the American Revolutionary War, right? Or maybe just before, because here is kind of where we're getting into that, right? We're learning about the taxes in this story, and it is entertaining. I know Nick mentioned he liked it. It was entertaining. It's definitely a different way to learn about that time than just reading the boring old textbook in social studies, okay? So this kind of reiterates some of that stuff that we've already learned about in our social studies book. So fact and opinion is what I want to talk about today. So we're going to go here to, yep, the reading textbook.
Okay.
All right. I want you to look at pages 356 and 357. So you can type up here just the page numbers instead of going through the contents. So I'm going to type in 356. And then it's going to take me right to the page that I want to look at here.
Oh yeah.
Okay?
357.
Yep, 356 is where we're going to start. All right. Fact and opinion. So I'm going to read down here, see what it tells us. As you read, Can't You Make Them Behave, King George? Look for both facts and opinions to determine which is which. Ask yourself whether the information can be proved true or false. That was something we talked about yesterday. If so, it is a fact. If not, it's an opinion, someone's belief or feeling. Authors may use reasons and text evidence to support opinions. Record the facts and opinions from the text in a graphic organizer like the one shown below. So here's the graphic organizer. I just had you write some facts and a fact and opinion in your discussion yesterday, and we talked about these same things, right? The only thing we didn't talk about was that authors may use text evidence to support their opinions. Okay, I want you to turn to or type in there at the top. Page 364 is where I'm going. So you can, up here again, 364.
364.
Yeah, we're skipping. And I'm looking at this first sentence right here. Okay, it says, indeed, being a king, especially a good one, was often boring. Fact or opinion? What do you think? John? Maybe opinion? We agree with that? We agree, opinion?
Yeah,
all right. So it is, right? They're saying it's boring, so that would be their opinion. And if I read down here, he couldn't even drop a glove without half the palace. It seemed stooping to pick it up and arguing about who should have the honor of returning it. Never mind the honor, the king once said. Never mind, just give me my glove. Okay, how does that support that his job might be boring? Juliana?
Because he's always like smothered all the time.
Okay, people are always smothering him, right? Somebody was always there to pick up his glove. What else? How else might that support that it's boring? People following you around. Keep reading. Maybe you'll see some more here. It says, what? Yes, you all picked it up. Yes. All. You all picked it up. King George had a habit of talking rapidly. and repeating himself so that his talk often sounded like a gobble. Other thoughts on how the author supported that opinion? Riker, what are you thinking?
Like he couldn't really do anything, or he doesn't really have space because there's so many people around him. If he does
Okay.
one thing, everybody else like follows it.
Yeah, so it is kind of boring, right? He's being followed, everybody's doing things for him, he can't really do anything on his own, right?
That would be
Okay, good. Go ahead, Riker.
But I feel like being a king would be pretty cool because it's a kind of like rule, and then you kind of have like bodyguards. And if I ever had a bodyguard, I would feel like really good.
Yeah, if you had a bodyguard. I want you to go back and think about what fact or opinion you picked. Let's stick with opinions. What opinion did you write down in your discussion? Go back and look for it. See if you can find it. We're going to share a few of these. Find your opinion that you wrote down. Let me know what page number it is. Claire? Three something. What's the page?
His opinion was basically,
What's the page number? Should be down there at the bottom. Or are you looking at your discussion?
I was just looking at my discussion.
Okay, tell us what it is then. Read the sentence for us you wrote down.
well, his opinion was like how he thought he was like the father of how,
Good, yeah, that is in there, right? He kind of the king describes himself as the father, right, of America. So what evidence did the author provide to support that? The king kind of felt like he was the father. Remember, Nick?
He said like basically it said like I remember it said something about like he was the father and they were like disrespectful or something. Not
Yeah,
listening
he
to-
mentioned that they were being disrespectful and that they were kind of acting like children, right? That he had to reprimand them. So those were reasons he was giving that he felt like a father. Okay. Other opinions you found, Sean?
I think this is an opinion. It
Okay.
said the author said that the king talks fast on page 54.
Okay, that page we were just down where it said he generally talks fast, and some people have their own opinion of what's fast and what's slower talking. All right, good.
Some people that are normal.
Okay, but he did give evidence, didn't he? Okay, he kind of showed you how here, the what, yes, you all picked it up, right? The repeating and talking fast, so he showed you some evidence of that. Now, we don't really know if it was fast because we aren't hearing him say those things. Okay, good. Emmy, did you have one?
On page 364, it says that the king was the most, it said,
I think you're looking at this one, the most toasted man, right? So that could be an opinion, yep. Okay, because he thinks that, right? But other people might be as well, okay? And he gave some, again, evidence, right? There's no party, right? But people were toasting him for his birthday and for different things, right?
And
Okay.
because he said like on his birthday they had like
Parades and banquets and speeches, yep, that's down here. Yep, all of that celebration, okay? Maya, another one?
all the pages, how he drew them,
All the pages what?
how the author drew all the characters, kind of in the cartoony style.
Oh, so you're saying that's kind of his opinion, right, of what he looked like. So we're not making it like a person-like, was he? He made a more cartoon-like, kind of his maybe thoughts towards the king in general, right, for
Wait.
the author. Okay, good. Nick?
like you know how in the social studies book how they get those pictures? Is it from like really old back then? People paint like portraits and now
Could have been.
people
Mhm.
paint copies and now that's what.
And some could be reenactments, some are just old photographs. Yep, They are. They're all different kinds of things. And we've talked about primary and secondary resources, right? So primary is what? What's a primary resource? There are some of those in your book, your social studies book, Nick.
Like a picture or something that's like right on, like they said something.
Right. So primary is a picture of that particular event. Secondary would be a reenactment, or somebody wasn't there and drew their kind of impression of it. John?
So, like, the Declaration of Independence is the primary resource?
Correct. That would be a primary resource, the Declaration of Independence. Okay. Let's move to facts. So facts we can prove true or false. What facts did you find in this story? John? We can come back to you if you're still looking. Adam? Okay, the fact is he didn't want to lose, right? He definitely did not, right? The king was doing what he could to try and win this war. Good. Sean?
One fact is that the king ordered a blockade in Boston Harbor.
Okay, he did order the blockade in Boston Harbor. Yep, that would be a fact. Riker?
That sometimes it may be difficult to be a king or a leader. Like,
That- Opinion. That's an opinion.
no.
So sometimes it would be difficult to be a
There's
king,
text
right?
There's text evidence about it and why.
For the
Why it's
opinion.
hard to be a
So
king.
remember, the
Yeah.
opinions are going to have text evidence because
But
one
he-
person might say it's difficult,
No,
right? And
because-
another king might say it was
Oh, it's
easy.
No,
easy,
because he
it's
said
fun.
talking about he said it that being a king isn't.
But so for him it wasn't,
That was
right?
Yeah, and that's a fact. He said it, and it was a fact for
Yeah,
him.
he said.
For him, but it would still be his opinion
That
and
was
he
for him.
provided you evidence.
Like if someone
For
likes
it.
something, that's their
Right.
opinion.
That's a feeling, that's a thought, right? It's not necessarily something I can look up in a book or I can ask an expert and they can say, yes, the Boston Harbor was blocked, right?
Yeah. That's
So some of them can get a little tricky, can't they? Trying to decide. And keep in mind, all sentences are not either facts or opinions. Some of them are statements or evidence, right, that are supporting those facts or those opinions. So you can look at it that way too. John, did you find it?
I found one. He wrote a letter to the Sanctuary of the State for America.
Okay, you wrote a letter. Yep, we could find that letter. We could see if somebody has a copy of it, right? So we can prove that he did actually do that. Juliana?
On July 4th, 1776, Americans declared their independence.
Okay, they declared their independence on July 4th, 1776. Other facts? Nick?
the Boston Tea Party.
Boston Tea Party. Yep, we can prove that
or
that
tea
happened.
district
Yep.
As a protest.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to. I want to go back to 356.
356.
Right? Was it 356? Yep.
You were just there.
It says target strategy. It says question. To improve your comprehension, pause now and then to ask yourself questions about the people and events in the selection. Questioning helps you figure out how people and events are related and what you need to reread to clarify. Look for evidence to help you answer your questions as you read. So, as you read this story yesterday, did you find yourself thinking about what you already knew from social studies and what was being stated in here? What did you think about the king prior to reading this story? What were some thoughts you had? Nick?
I thought he was just like kind of an evil guy,
Okay.
but then in this it shows that he actually had a really hard job and
Yeah, kind of some of the decisions he was making and why he was making those decisions, right? This story kind of
And-
clarifies
yeah,
some of
one
that, doesn't
the
it?
reasons he wasn't giving up, he didn't want to give up in the wars because he didn't want to lose a ton of people, a ton of land. and
Okay,
stuff.
good. So kind of gives you a different perspective on the king. Good. John, what did you think before and after?
Before I was thinking he was like, kind of like just a big bad person that was trying to come up and trying
So again, this makes him almost human, right? Where when we're reading in the social studies book, we don't get a lot about King George, right? We kind of get some little snippets here and the things he's doing, and usually they're not good things, right?
Yeah.
So this makes him more human and maybe more likable almost. We're like, oh, now I understand him. Now I see what kind of person he was. Okay. Maya?
Before, I thought he was crazy.
Okay.
I watched a document and they said that anyone who like betrayed him in his side he killed.
Okay. So again, more on the meaner side as opposed to, he's not so bad. All right. Juliana?
Before I thought he was, he liked his slaves and soldiers and stuff. And
Okay.
he was like a selfish man, but in this story, he clearly doesn't like his slaves.
Okay, so we did see, even on that one page I had, it seemed like he treated them maybe a little more poorly than we had anticipated. Is that what you're thinking? Okay, from this story, where before you kind of had a different take on that. All right, good. Sean?
Before I thought that he went mad, one from Ruby Hamilton too, I saw on the document.
Oh, okay. Well, I think at the end of this story, it does say he,
Yeah, because they
He
have
got
like,
something
right, he,
fixed.
yeah, I don't remember what it said exactly. Oops, way more pages than I anticipated.
King George died, right?
yeah.
Oh, he had nightmares and the loss of American colonies. It certainly hadn't been his fault, he said. He hadn't done anything wrong. He had just wanted to teach Americans a lesson. All
Well,
right.
Teach America a lesson, then you don't fight.
So you might see that as kind of not a nice guy, right? He wasn't willing to rethink outside of the box and take into consideration what those colonists were saying, right? So that might have changed your opinion back to what you thought before reading this story. Okay, so a little different take on the Revolutionary War and a little closer glimpse at King George. Now, granted, it is done in more of a comical way, right? Which makes it entertaining. Eli?
I think like that the Patriots and the Loyalists, they're both bad. Like they both did something wrong.
True. I could see that they both kind of had their things that they probably shouldn't have done, right? Everybody could have handled the situation a little differently, right?
Yeah.
I agree. All right. So if you did not do your discussion yesterday, make sure that's completed. You also had a crossword, vocab crossword worksheet for your assignment yesterday. Today, we have a fact and opinion that you're going to look at. So these all come from the story. So reading those and deciding fact or opinion, there are 9 of them. And that is all for your reading assignment today. Okay?